You're tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Goal, the official podcast of your Springfield Thunderbirds.
Osmanski, a one-timer deflected side of the goal. Alexandrov scores!
Hosted by Matt Baker and Steve Forney. A show that's everything Springfield hockey, with interviews including players, coaches, and staff.
The Springfield Indians repeat as the Calder Cup champions.
Listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms and wherever you download podcasts.
In his first year at the helm, Kevin McDonald and Drew Bannister have the teamers in the Calder Cup Finals.
Watch the podcast on the official Shake, Rattle, and Goal YouTube page at SRG Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker and Steve Forney.
And this episode of the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast, episode number 20, is proudly brought to you by our friends at White Lion Brewing in Tower Square in downtown Springfield, also out in Amherst, your go-to pregame spot for Thunderbirds games. Also now by our friends at YOLO Healthcare Consulting, bridging the gap for those traversing the healthcare landscape. Alongside Matt Baker, I am Steve Forney, and Matt, I'm a bit of a milestone, episode number 20. I mean, I'm pretty proud of us. This is pretty awesome.
It's awesome. I've had a blast every single one, and you know they say the first 20 are the hardest. So I feel like we've gotten to that point, and now it's just smooth sailing. But no, I appreciate Steve chatting with you weekly, reading up on our Thunderbirds and connecting to the community and the fans, and I've really appreciated and enjoyed every episode, every minute of our 20 episodes. So far, it's been a great time.
Yeah, and so much more than just the two of us. I mean, just looking back, it's like thank you to White Lion for letting us have that great night at the celebrity bartending, and
right.
The Thunderbirds team plays our promo now, like our promotional commercial at home games, which we can't thank them enough for doing that. And
yep.
Again, all of you who watch and listen and look, I can track the numbers, and the numbers are pretty good, and we owe that to you, the fans. For tuning in and asking questions and liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all those things. We really appreciate it. I know I say it all the time, but if it wasn't for you guys, we would just be sitting here talking to ourselves. We can do that on our own time. So,
yeah.
I'm proud of what we're doing, but I'm really thankful for everybody that sort of surrounds us. I'm thankful for our wives for taking the time to deal with our kids so that we could sit here and do this on a nightly basis.
It's true.
My wife's doing bedtime right now. So,
yeah.
So a lot goes into it behind the scenes, but we're very grateful, I think, for where we are with this podcast. And we do also have our fan segment coming up as well, which is brought to you by O'Connell's Irish Pub. We're really excited that we have a full family, the Bollier family, all five of them got involved on this. So we'll have that coming up in a little bit as well. Unfortunately, though, as we look at what's happening on the ice, and this is, I think, way too many weeks in a row of sort of having the same tone and tenor, the team is not performing up to, I think, the level that we expect, the level that we want. Since January 1st, they've lost 7 of 9, 3 losses, 2 wins, and then 4 straight losses. So definitely not, as fans, where we want to see the team performing. And just real quick off the top, Matt, any sort of more broad, big picture reasons as to why the struggles are happening, rosters or play, performance, or all the above?
I mean, I think, right, if there was one simple, this is why, we'd probably be out of this little slump. Like you alluded to it, they're 0-4. 4 losses in regulation in a row for the first time this season. In their last 10, they're 2-7, 0-1. So not heading in the right direction at all. You brought this up, and we go back and forth a lot during the week. It's not just we hop on this show and just start spewing things off the top of our head, but you had brought up, really, since the St. Louis Blues made their coaching change and Drew Bannister got brought up, one of the things we talked about was, does this maybe light a little fire in the Thunderbirds as, hey, our old coach, he knows what we're about. He knows what we do here. Does that make it easier for them to, pull the trigger, so to speak, and pull guys up? I don't know if that's the reason why, but the beginning part of the year, let's say the first quarter, the first third of the year, this roster was pretty consistent. We were injury free, not a lot of call ups. But since Drew Bannister has been named interim coach, you have McEachran going up and down. You had McGinn going up and down. You have
Walker.
Kessel, going up. You have now Gaudette going up. You have Scott Walker, Nathan Walker. Yeah, I do this all the time.
The
Nathan.
Scott Walker check for every episode.
There it is. Yeah. Nathan Walker going up and staying up. And again, we're happy for them. This is what they've earned. It's what they deserve. I will not complain. I will not, make it acceptable for somebody to complain about these guys getting to the NHL. This is what we know. That's what Springfield is, a stepping stone for these guys to reach their dreams, and we want them to. So we're happy for them. But at the same time, there has been some disruption in the lines. And I think since then, they've really struggled to find consistent line play. At the beginning of the season, we started off, that top line was scoring a lot of points, and then you had the double McLaffey, the double McBitten lines, right, bringing a lot of energy. I've said it from the start. I think Hugh McGing is the little energizer bunny that gets this team going. And when he's bouncing all over the ice, when he's hustling in the neutral zone, when he's intercepting passes and moving the puck around, the team goes. And it's been hard to find that with these guys going up and down. And I wonder if, because they are struggling to find some offensive chemistry, is that causing defensive players, Coughlin with 10 goals, Joey Duzak is playing a little bit more offensively. Because of that, is that impacting their team defense? I think this is a very long-winded way of me saying I think really their team defense has really gotten them into this little bit of a rut. And you look at it and it's just, I don't want to say simple and make it sound like it's something I can do, because I couldn't. If I put on skates and I put on a jersey, I could not play. I could not do it. But, there's been so many sort of, those backdoor crashes to the net where it's either Z or Malcolm sprawling from one post to the other post to try to make a save. And you've got all five of our the Thunderbirds in the defensive zone playing one side of the ice, and nobody is checking backdoor. So I don't know. The alarming part to me is this has been consistent. And so the team is either struggling to identify this as the problem, or they've identified it and then can't seem to do anything, can't rectify it. There's talent on this team. So once that does click, and once it does get figured out, and once they get out of this slump, or, find the right line combinations at the blue line, maybe, there's still talent on this roster. But it was a tough weekend.
Yeah.
Tough weekend.
Yeah. Just to piggyback on the team defense, and I've been looking at it a lot as the six guys on the back end, but there were times this weekend where, I'm watching Rochester score a goal, and I'm sitting there going, what is Dylan Coughlin doing here? And then you see the replay, and it's basically a 2-on-1 down low, and he's the only guy there.
Yeah.
And like, where are the forwards? Like, how come there's no? So I don't want to just pin it on the actual defense.
Sure.
Because I don't think they're getting consistent back checking and winning puck battles and causing turnovers from the forward group either. And
agreed.
When we think about some of their best, what I would consider the best defensive forwards, Walker, Gaudette, McGing, who's been hurt, McEachern, like Suzuki even. Like, so these are guys who are like, they're either not here or they're just not exactly pulling their weight. So, but one of the things we've talked about all year is Subban in particular gives up a lot of rebounds. And we talked about it last week, but if you can't clear the crease when your goalie's giving up rebounds, it's just going to be second chance, third chance, fourth chance. You can't clear your own zone. It's just more puck possession for the other team. So, one of the things I want to dive into a little later on is just the shot totals against. The shots on goal differential is outstanding. And just, since the calendar turned to January, the Thunderbirds are giving up 34.7 shots a game. Oof. I mean, 34, and they're averaging 26. So when you're getting outshot at, shots aren't the end score. I know, but 34 to 26 consistently over the course of 9 games, you're not going to win. You're going to lose more than you're going to win. Yeah. So I do think that's a major issue. And just to touch on what you mentioned there with the roster, and again, this happens to every team, so it's not an excuse, but McGing is hurt. Suzuki's been banged up. Duzak missed some time. I mean, not Duzak. Coughlin's missed some time. Callie Rosen got hurt. Now Zarenko's hurt. So, when you don't have those bodies that you're counting on, that you rely on, that's going to throw a wrench in everything too, especially when it comes to line combinations.
Yeah. Yeah. And to shift a little bit and maybe look at the bright side, does this give opportunities for Tanner Dickinson, for Marc-Andre Gaudette, to a Sam Bitten, to let's even just say maybe a Jamison Reese, who's been in the lineup a little bit more consistently, but sort of these back end fourth line guys, these ECHL guys, to, hey, your number's called, now prove it and earn it. And, we saw Tanner Dickinson get a power play goal Friday night in Rochester. I thought Marc-Andre Gaudette, I think he made a few mistakes early, but he's hustled. He's been a presence. And we also can't forget names that we've heard since day one, since game one. Leo Loof, Zach Dean, Zach Bolduc. They are rookies. And this is a grind of an AHL season. And so it's not the way you necessarily want to be limping. There are injuries all across this roster, heading into the All-Star break. But it is a prime type of roster to get young guys up, to hit the reset for the rookies who have played a lot of minutes this first half of the year and have been counted on heavily to get into your, second season, so to speak. Hit the reset button, and there is no reason why we can't expect, I don't like saying we should expect an 8-game winning streak coming up here. But again, I do believe there's talent on this roster. I think, looking forward, and we will in a little bit, can we go as far as Jacob Vrana can carry us for the moment? It can be turned around. And right now, again, you're 2-7-1 in the last 10. If you can go on a 7-2-1 stretch, you're kind of, we're all still in the thick of it. Teams 2 through 7 have, there's a difference in how many points here.
Well, the problem is that they're starting to fade out of it. It was a lot closer, and now the difference between them in second place is 10 points.
10 points. That's 10 a lot. Points. That is. But, if you can pull off these upcoming games, you have a lot of games still left in your division. So if you can hit a nice little stretch in your division and you go 7-2-1, could be right back sort of in that thick of it.
It is. It is a streaky league. And yeah. When winning 9 in a row or losing 9 in a row can make or break your entire season. Sometimes they happen in the same season.
Yes.
And so, yeah, they need what they need now is one of those streaks. And I almost don't even feel comfortable saying that based on where this team is at, because they need to focus. I mean, they can't be looking at second place. They need to look at fifth place, which is Charlotte with 44 points, and they have 41. You got 2 games here against Charlotte. You need 3 out of 4 points. Like, you need it. Like it's, I don't want to say that it's do or die in January, but it's late January. You're in 6th place. You're playing the team ahead of you twice in a row. You need 3 out of 4 points. Like, you need it.
It is. I'll go a little bit further. I think it is where you don't want to be. You want to be in the playoff, right? So get to the playoff, get to the second season, and then, we'll see what happens. But you don't want to be going into the playoffs by default. And these if you start playing playoff hockey now, it kind of is for your season. If you've got to almost play playoff hockey to make the playoffs right now. Lehigh Valley is 1 point behind you, and yes, Bridgeport with 27 points. We're not an Islanders podcast, so I don't need to crush them, but you are 1 point ahead of Lehigh Valley, who you haven't been able to handle throughout the season. So, I'm not confident in saying, well, don't worry about it, they'll beat Lehigh Valley at the moment.
Or Wilkes-Barre or Bridgeport.
Right. So I think it's fair to say to get to that second season, to get to the playoff, you've got to start playing playoff hockey now. And you have to start, even if you chunk it into, 5-game series. Again, playoffs are win 3 out of 5. Win 3 out of 5 and you move on. And I think you have to kind of take that approach. You can chunk it into weeks and, do we win 2 out of 3? I like to think a little bit bigger than that and chunk it into 5-game stretches, but you've got to win 3 out of 5. You've got to, over the course of 5 games, you got to get 6 points. Find out a way to get 6 points over 5 games.
Well, see, it's funny. I'm glad you're a big picture guy, because I'm a small picture guy. Can we win 2 out of 3 periods?
Sure.
When's the last time the team won 2 out of 3 periods?
Yeah.
So, I totally agree, to look at it that way, but I'm so much more micro, where like, can we win 2 out of 3 periods? And because I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you mentioned some of the names you mentioned. There's one guy who keeps getting more and more ice time, and I don't know why, who I will not mention. But I'm looking at guys like Abramov and Jamison Reese. I mean, Jamison Reese, I keep forgetting Jamison Reese is 22. All right. So he's not some, old guy, but 42 points in 65 games last year in Chicago, 14 goals, 28 assists. He has no goals, 2 assists in 24 games. Yeah. So, I don't think he all of a sudden stinks. I think that he was probably playing more minutes, more consistent minutes. And, who knows what happens if you throw him on a second line, give him some power play time, maybe give him some penalty kill, or just increase the amount of ice that he's seeing, I think could really help that player. And same thing with Abramov. I think that Abramov in flashes has looked really good, and I see no reason why he's not playing a little bit more, just because I know the talent is there. So, it is interesting to see what'll happen here now that Dickinson's up. And like you said, he had a halfway decent weekend. By the way, the other thing with Dickinson is he looked like he belonged.
Yeah.
Like he didn't look like a guy that was just called up or the game was moving too fast for him. I mean, he was right in there. He played gritty. The penalty is probably something he wants back, but he just looked involved and gritty and sort of ready to go. So you like to see that from that player. But I do think there are some names at the bottom of that roster. We were talking earlier about, months ago about Sam Bitten, and we were saying this team's so loaded on offense. Where do you put him? Well, now they don't have the same roster structure that they had 2 months ago. So now
Mm-hmm.
you have chances here to do a little bit more mixing and matching to get guys more minutes. And Abramov, Reese, Sam Bitten, Dickinson.
Yeah.
I see
I
no
mean, because
reason why.
I look at it, I feel like let's go look back at this weekend, right? And I didn't watch. I wasn't able to watch a lot of the Rochester game. My kids had their
Lucky.
own. Yeah, well, I know they had their own deck hockey evaluations, so we were gone Saturday night. But the little bit I did see, and then watching the game Sunday, I do feel like they didn't play awful against the Penguins. And again, like if we're being realistic, taking a step back, all right, 2-1, tough loss on the road against a divisional opponent. Okay, you played okay, but that loss 7-2, being outshot. This is off the top of my head. I think 41-17.
41-17. You nailed it.
Like that's not okay. And I can't help think that a guy like Sam Bitten, look, you lost 7-2 without him. Could it have been any worse with him in the lineup? But at least now he's interjecting energy and he flies over the ice. And again, I've mentioned this before. I realize I'm more of a psychological kind of coach. And look, if I've got guys with more talent, but this guy's going to hustle for me and scramble to get a puck, out of your defensive zone or make it a little bit harder for someone to get through the neutral zone. I'll take that guy who's hustling. And in the little bit that we've been able to see Sam Bitten, that's kind of what we've seen from him, right? So where I stand on that. And then I just think you give a guy like Tanner Dickinson, real quick, I'll go over what he's done in Orlando. 34 games, 7 goals, 15 assists, 22 points, plus minus of 12. I'm sorry, wrong column there. Plus minus of 6, plus 6. But you give a guy like that and say, look, I don't necessarily need you to score goals. We're kind of not scoring goals right now anyway. I need you to go out there and hustle. I need you to do the little things. I need you to win your battle. I need you to stay focused. Let's see that first. Let's win. Let's get guys who are going to be winning their battles, communicating out there on the ice. And let's go from there, because there is talent on this team up and down the roster and just not clicking right now. But, all it takes is a game or two to get that to click. And then we could have in 2 weeks, we could be having a whole different tone to our show,
Right. No, definitely. And I think, leaning on those guys is, it takes a lot of pressure off of your top guys. Cause I mean, there hasn't been a lot of, we talked about the start that Gaudette had and how it was that line. It felt like it was just that line, the contributions from the bottom half of the roster need to start increasing on a regular basis. And I will say, I think that they've had some good shifts, but the good shifts need to start turning into points. They need to start turning into opportunities. Real quick on the coach. I mean, I know we've sort of made this parallel between the way that they're playing and then Drew Bannister leaving. And, Dan Tkachuk, I don't think, other than the game where he decided to dress Sam Bitten and then not play him for 2.5 periods, which I just, again, either play him or don't, but don't waste a roster spot on somebody you're not even going to bother playing. And maybe there's other factors there that we don't know about, but I at some point, whether you're 30 years old or 20 or anywhere in between, you've been playing this game since you could walk.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it really shouldn't matter who's behind the bench. You go out there and you skate and you play and you do what you've known how to do since you were a toddler. And I think that it's weird and I don't know what it is. And again, I'm not much of a coach guy. I don't do it. I know you love coaching your kids and I don't do it a lot. I don't understand. To me, it can't just be the coach. At some point,
Yeah.
there's some other factor at play here as to why this slump has gone on the way it has. So, I don't know. It's just strange. But I guess while we're let's just break the ice in the griping.
Yeah.
And go to our fan segment, which is proudly brought to you by our friends at O'Connell's Irish Pub and Grill, located at 733 Chicopee Street in Chicopee. Whether you're just driving along 391 looking for a bite to eat, O'Connell's full menu has something to satisfy your hunger. Shepherd's pie, flatbreads, sandwiches, and even a full kids menu, which is very important to guys like me and Matt. Of course, your kids probably eat off the grown-up menu now. They're big boys.
Nah, not Tyler. Jake does.
If you're looking for a friendly environment at night to grab a drink or two, make sure to stop by O'Connell's and take a look at their 10 local and craft beers on tap. O'Connell's Irish Pub and Grill, 733 Chicopee Street in Chicopee, proud supporter of the SRG podcast fan segment. Make sure you tell Blake and our friends behind the bar that the boys from SRG sent you. This week's fan segment is the Bollier family: Lisa, Noel, Andrew, Drew, and Trenton. We got the whole family on board, so let's toss it to the Bollier family.
So I grew up in Mass. So I'm I've always, grew up. Obviously, it was the Springfield Indians when I started growing up watching them, and it's just as close for us, anyways. Between Hartford and Springfield, and I feel like, I'm a homegrown, I still cheer on all my Massachusetts sports teams, even though I'm a Connecticut native. And I kind of raise my kids kind of do the same thing, but that's kind of the reason why we are more Springfield Thunderbirds, I guess.
And then I work with a woman whose family was very good, are huge Thunderbirds fans. They had season tickets every season or each year. And so she started inviting us through the extra vouchers they got. And so the kid, actually before Trenton was born, we started taking Drew and Noella, and then they fell in love with it and the sport. And so we've just been, getting our own tickets now to go to the games.
I just like watching hockey in general.
Yeah. How about you, Noella?
Probably the fans, because they burn a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Nice. Good answer.
There you go.
What about you, Trenton? What do you like about Thunderbirds games, bud?
Who signed your shirt? Is that what
Boomer. He likes Boomer.
Boomer's a fan favorite.
We've been on the Fan Boney a few times, actually. So that was a great experience. When Trenton was a baby, they did a Star Wars night, and the kids were dressed up as Darth Vader, and Trenton was dressed up as Baby Yoda. So they actually got to drop the puck. They've also been there for their birthdays, and so we have their birthdays have been up on the Jumbotron, which is fun for them to see.
I remember when I was Baby Yoda, when we went on the ice.
Mm-hmm. This past summer, we went on a tour of the Thunderdome. And so we got to see we were invited by one of the reps, and it was a private tour. We got to see where the players, their locker room, their workout room. Oh yes, where their room that they go over plays and everything. We got to see the Jumbotron down on the ground in pieces. That was cool.
Nice.
So that was like a 2-hour tour, and when we went into their locker room, the kids had T-shirts, and for them, they had their names were up on the above the lockers with their number on it, as if they were players. So that was a nice surprise for them.
I never played, organized hockey, but I grew up playing backyard hockey all my life, and I've just always enjoyed the sport. It's close, it's local, and it's inexpensive for families like us to, enjoy as a family. it's, things are, not always the most, affordable to take a family of 5 to. And, I feel like it's definitely worth the, the expense to spend time with our as a family, and cheer on something that we really enjoy watching. I have 2 brothers, and we grew up and and cheered them on. So I love the fact that I can share my passion of hockey with my kids, and have them go through the same building, different names, but it's still a great place to see hockey, and it's just a fun time. So.
And even like on Sundays, they've done the skating on the ice after the game. So they give a lot of opportunities for families to do different things.
Noella, do you have a favorite cheer or chant or video that gets played up that the fans all get excited about? The bongo cam?
Yeah, probably.
What about when Boomer's playing the drums?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Or the hamster.
Yeah,
The hamster?
Everybody loves the hamster, yeah. Hamster's a good one.
Oh, Trenton's doing it.
Thunderclap.
There it is. Do you guys have favorite players?
I like Pekka.
How about you, Drew?
No,
Well,
not
who do you-
really.
You're a huge fan of the goalie.
Yeah, he's a
He
likes
loves
all
his
the
goalies.
goalies.
So
We got a couple good ones.
Montembeau.
Zarenko.
Montembeau right now up in the professional league now. And that's neat to
Joel Hoffer. Was it Joel Hoffer?
I don't know.
Last year, wasn't he a goalie?
Yeah.
Yep.
see. The fundraise, the positive things that they do besides hockey. Like the Pink on the Rink. They do a lot of different things for a lot of different organizations. And it's another thing that is good for the kids to see, besides the hockey aspect that this organization does. That is really, I have a lot of respect for, all the effort they put out to help many charities. And it's kind of, it's a neat thing to see every time you go. There's different organizations there, and they're always, praising people for doing the right things. And it's just a nice positive. It's always a nice positive place to be.
Let's go, T-Birds!
And big thank you to the Bollier family for joining us. That segment is brought to you by our friends at O'Connell's Irish Pub and Grill, 733 Chicopee Street in Chicopee. Easy on and off from $3.91, 10 local and craft beers on tap, 9 TVs, and a late night menu. Weekly live music, kids menu. They have just what you're looking for at O'Connell's Irish Pub. We also want to give a big thank you to our friends at White Lion Brewing in their new location in Amherst on North Pleasant Street, right down in downtown Springfield at Tower Square, 1500 Main Street. The place to go prior to all Springfield Thunderbirds games. Remember, they will validate your parking for you on game nights if you park in the Tower Square garage. So much easier of an in and out than the MGM garage, so definitely highly recommend it. While you're there, grab some Boomer Nachos, Seuss Mac and Cheese, some Hall of Fame wings, along with the 20-plus beers that they have. And don't forget, you can find your favorite White Lion beers in your local liquor store cooler. White Lion Brewing in Amherst in downtown Springfield, a proud local supporter of the SRG podcast. Make sure you tell them that the fellas from SRG sent you. And our good friends at YOLO Healthcare Consulting. YOLO Healthcare Consulting offers education, training, tutoring, coaching, and mentoring for healthcare professionals and students. Founding owners Yolanda Mero and Lola Rios. Get it? YOLO. Try saying that 5 times fast, Steve. Doctorate prepared nurses with over 40 years of combined bedside, academic, and leadership nursing experience. They also offer assistance to individuals navigating the healthcare system for long-term care and home care planning needs. Founded right here in Western Mass, YOLO Healthcare Consulting are the ones to contact to help you bridge the gap if you're traversing the healthcare landscape. You reach out to them at yolo.healthcareconsulting@gmail.com, or you can give them a call at 413-627-0609 and tell them that the guys at SRG sent you. Very happy to have all those sponsors on board. 20 episodes in. I don't think we can have any more sponsors. I'll take them. But three seems like a real nice number. So Big thank you to YOLO, White Lion, and our friends at O'Connell's Pub. We're sort of discussing the some of the issues that we think the team might be having here, and I did a little bit of homework here, Matt, and I know we talked about the goalies and how they do tend to give up a lot of rebounds, and when you're not playing sound in front of your own net, that's when it leads to second chances. That's when it leads to when you can't get the puck out of your own zone. That's when it leads to more possession. So I went since January 1st. So that's 9 games. In the last 9 games, the Thunderbirds have been outshot 313 to 237. The opponents are averaging 34.7 shots a game. The Thunderbirds are averaging 26.3. I don't know what's more of a shocking number. I don't think that 34.7 shots against is really that dramatic. I think you can win that way. But when you're only getting 26, to me, that's a problem. And that's the number. I don't know why that number's so low. I don't know if it's, they do tend to get pass happy. When they come down on a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, they try to make that extra pass rather than just fire it. And again, it's not just Subban. Any goalie at this level, fire it low.
Yeah.
How many goalies got trampolines for leg pads? Like, just shoot low and try to get rebounds, right? But I think that when you're spending so much time in your own zone, you're never actually setting up and developing an offense.
Yeah.
So, you're pinned in your own zone, you get the puck out, you change lines, but you give them the puck back, so they carry it back in. So now you got to play more defense. Then you get out, then you get a line change. It's just like constant over and over again. And I think that the 26 shots per game to me is more shocking than the 34 shots against.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, one thing I've noticed, and, they are playing lately. Their 5-on-5 in their defensive zone has seemed like a power play. They're kind of playing a bit of a shell where they're being reactive in this 5-on-5 and allowing teams to create shooting lanes and other passing lanes. And so, to go along with what you're saying, and I didn't have those numbers, those are great numbers, but you're spending all this energy in your defensive zone chasing and reacting rather than, again, set up, have a presence in front of your goal. You have great goaltending. This, in my opinion, the issue has really never been goaltending for a period. Everybody has a bad game, right? But the issue is not goaltending. We're leaving them out to dry, and set up a presence in front of the net, clear whoever's there, be aggressive up to the blue line instead of just being reactive and skating left to right, left to right, left to right. Then by the time you're getting it into your offensive zone, it's a dump and chase and you're changing lines. So you're never really able to get any sort of offensive momentum. That's kind of like how I've been seeing it. And again, that's not every shift, but I'm seeing a lot of that where it's, if I didn't, just looking at it quickly, I'm like, oh, are they on a power play? But no, it's 5-on-5. And they're just kind of playing a bit like of a perimeter kind of shell kind of defense, where instead of being aggressive and attacking these passing lanes and focusing on your mark, your check, then you're just reacting to where the puck is going. And they're content with that puck going from side to side around the perimeter, but then they leave that back door open. So, that's, that's kind of like what I'm seeing. So to go along with that, I think that the reason why you're seeing this onslaught of shots against the Thunderbirds is just they're not able to clear their defensive zone. And then I think the lack of shooting for the Thunderbirds, again, I've noticed you've just spent 45 seconds to a minute 10 in your defensive zone, and now you just got to dump, chase, and you're changing your lines because you've spent all your energy. So you're never really able to set anything up offensively. Struggling even to get the puck through the neutral zone, again, because of that. So,
No, I mean, no, there's a lot of good stuff there, and I think you said it really well there, because attacking defensively, just because you're on defense doesn't mean you can't attack. Yeah. And I think that part of the reason that the Thunderbirds, when they do finally get something set up, it's like they're being suffocated by the other team's defense. And again, all 5 guys, it doesn't just have to be the 2 guys down low, but the forwards attacking the blue line. You're a better puck handler than those defensemen are at the point. So attack them. I do think they have a bit of a dangerous mix of players for that style. I mean, I'll take Gaudette out of it and Walker out of it. I mean, outside of Hugh McGing and Pekka and Will Bitton, they're not exactly defensive forwards out there. And maybe this is part of the reason why you need a Sam Bitton, but Mikhail Abramov wasn't brought here because of his defense.
Yeah.
And Bolduc and Dean were not, blowing doors in the juniors with their defense. They're all kind of goal scorers, which is good. It's good to have. But if you're not scoring goals, there needs to be other parts of your game. And I think that, like you said, they need to really attack. And the joke that we kind of have, and it's kind of depressing to admit it, but there are times in the game at home games where, like you said, I'll look at the penalty box guy next to me named Chief. I say, Chief, how much time left in the penalty? He's like, what? But it's 5-on-5. But it looks like a power play. And you're like, you look down the other end of the ice, and the ice is clean. There's not even like a skate mark in it. It's like, and it's a vicious cycle of buckle down on defense in your own zone, dump it out, get a line change, play more defense, dump it out, get a line change. And again, that's happening for periods on end. And
over this stretch. And again, to your point of the numbers, numbers don't lie, right? You're seeing a lot of one and done. You're getting into the offensive zone, you're getting one shot, and then it's either, there isn't a chance for a rebound, or, whoever we're playing is handling the rebound instead of seeing the Thunderbirds sort of handle that rebound. So,
too many passes, not enough shots.
Yeah.
The pass is getting intercepted. That means that you need to shoot more and not just.
I'd like to see more, like you nailed it. Shoot low, rush the net. Like I said, I think offensively, I think it's fair. And look, Vrana's played well. He offensively, I do agree with you. He's not a defensive minded forward in any stretch of the imagination, right? But offensively, let's see if the Thunderbirds can go as far as he can kind of take you for this time being, and just buckled in on that defense. Look, there are, and I'm only looking through from now through February. We've got 12 games, and all 12 of them are within the division. And there are hard games in there. I'm not saying this team is going 10-0-2, right? But over 12 games, you stay above 500, and you limit the regulation losses to 4. You're playing the teams ahead of you. Make up some points there. Looking a little bit short-sighted here. Your next 3 games this week, we've got Wednesday at Hershey, and then
I forgot about that Hershey game Wednesday.
Yeah,
oh boy,
Wednesday, and that I know. So you're in Hershey on Wednesday, and then you're home for 2 games against Charlotte. Hershey's going to be what it is, man. And actually, again, let's take a quick second to just applaud greatness and just an amazing thing. But the rookie goaltender over there, Clay Stevenson, with a rookie record, 6 shutouts this year. So that's something. And I was reading up on sort of, the Washington Capitals goaltending situation, and they've got quite a dilemma there in between the pipes there for what they're going to do between Hershey and Washington. But then you got 2 home games against Charlotte. I'm sorry, they are. You have to win. You have to. You need 4 points there. Out of these next 3 games, you need 4 points, and to expect to get one in Hershey the way we've been playing. So let's win 2 against Charlotte at home. Let's pack the Thunderdome. Let's get loud. If we're sitting here calling for this team to play playoff hockey, we need a playoff atmosphere in the Thunderdome. I mean, that's only fair. Right? What else can we do as fans? So, this is my call to you, listeners, fans. Be loud. Rally behind our guys. We know they can do it. We can say what it's not. This is not a team that's going to quit or pack it in. This is a team that's going to grind with whoever is in their starting lineup, whoever their line mates are. They're going to go out there and play. And this is what we can do is get loud and pack the energy there as it would be a playoff game. Because I really think they just need to start playing playoff hockey, limit the mistakes. I'll take. Let me ask you this, Steve. Would you take? The last time the Thunderbirds were in Hershey, it was a 1-0 loss, 19-18 shots. Would you take that type of loss Wednesday?
Oh, it's 1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%. I mean, I'd rather it be a 6-5 loss because that means that the offense is scoring.
Sure.
Because I think that we talked a lot about the defense, but the offense is not putting the puck in. Again, 3-2, 5-4. A 1-goal loss against this team to me is totally acceptable. I'd love to see it in overtime, but if that's my option, a 1-0 loss, low shots on goal, I totally take that against Hershey.
Yeah, and you can take that as sort of that moral victories and a loss. Nobody likes those. We don't want those. You want to win, but if right the ship a little bit in a tough loss against. Look, right now, I mean, Hershey's they're running away in the whole league at the moment. Anything can change, but right the ship a little bit in Hershey, play sound, good hockey, something that we saw at the beginning of the year, and then we'll see what happens when Charlotte comes into town. And like I said, I want these boys to be playing playoff hockey. I want us as fans. Let's make it a playoff atmosphere, and then let's rally behind the guys. So
for sure. So again, Friday night is another MGM Springfield Deuces Wild Friday. $2 Coors Lights, $2 hot dogs, $2 sodas. By the way, that starts at 6. So you can get that through the end of the first period. I believe that's through the end of intermission. Don't hold me to that, but I think you get that through the end of intermission.
Yes, at the start of the second period.
Start of the second period. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And then get to the line early. Get to the line early.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, those Coors Light drafts are flowing, baby. Every Friday night, I just see people walking around with solo cups. It's like college all over again. It's fantastic. And then on Saturday is Hometown Heroes Night presented by M&T Bank, celebrating and honoring first responders. That's when they have the vehicles come out during intermission, and they have the sirens blaring and everything else. So it's always a cool night. I believe that is also the night where they're one of my more aesthetically pleasing nights, where they have the 2 fire trucks out in front with the big, huge, massive American flag. So that'll be great too.
Are they also doing the steps pregame?
Oh yes, I think so.
Right.
I think so. So I think you can still sign up. I'm not sure. I'd go to the team website, but I believe you can. Yeah, you can take part in that, and all the money goes to different various organizations and things like that. So you can sign up for that. One other thing, sort of off the beaten path, I wanted to just mention. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm glad that we had the day game on Monday. The parking garage. You've seen the work that they're doing over there. I mean, there's like a whole section of it that's already done. And I know it's, we're probably still 12 months out. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's more like 8 months out. But that thing's coming along nice too. So I know it took a while for that to actually look like there was action, but I'm not in downtown as much as I used to be. Yeah. But it looks good. So that's something we can kind of hope for as well. So I don't know, Matt, anything else you want to touch on? I know this has been sort of I don't say sad episode, but we got some gripes. We got to talk about what we're seeing,
And that's it. And I'll I'm always a fan. I will always back the boys. I'm always gonna to be there to cheer them on and root them on, whether it's in person or on my couch. I'm always thankful. Again, I don't want to repeat myself every episode, but just the opportunities that this team has given me and in my family, I will always give back to them. But we have to be fair. We have to be honest with what we're seeing, and we can't just make up lies. And so, but the roster has talent, and that's a good thing. So they can get it clicking. It's not too late. I want to thank the Bollier family for coming on, and real quick, just something that listening to them and their story, and hearing the baby Yoda dropping the puck, and it's just great to see another family creating memories, another generation of hockey fans coming through the household. So thank you to them. You listeners, thank you. We appreciate all the clicks, the likes, the comments, the questions. Keep them coming.
And real quick, and we want to also thank our friends at White Lion Brewing in downtown Springfield and Tower Square, their new location in Amherst, as well as our friends at YOLO Healthcare Consulting. You can visit them at yolo.healthcareconsulting@gmail.com, or you can call them at 413-627-0609. And as always, Matt,
let's go T-Birds.